Today we're going to be talking about the history of the Pledge of Allegiance. There were 3 different versions of the Pledge of Allegiance that have been written, and we'll be talking about all 3 of them today. You need to be thinking about what version you prefer, what version you like, and think about some of the changes that were made to the pledge and maybe the reasons why those changes were made. So the very first version of the Pledge of Allegiance was written by the socialist minister Francis Bellamy in 1892, and he actually wrote the pledge for the youth that he was ministering to. And he specifically decided with the pledge that he wanted it to be a general pledge so that any of the youth that he was ministering to would be interested in possibly using it as a means of demonstrating or saying their loyalty to their particular country from which they came, not specifying any particular one, as you'll see when I read this pledge. I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You'll notice that in the 1892 version of the Pledge of Allegiance, it is a Pledge of Allegiance to any particular country because it was specifically geared toward the youth that he was ministering to, which involved a great number of youth from all over the world. So again, the 1892 version is just a pledge that talks about being loyal to one's country or one's nation. Then, in 1923, there was another version that was put out. This version focused more on the United States of America. You can see in the 1923 version, the phrase, the flag of the United States of America, was added. As you see, I've underlined it. So the 1923 version of the pledge became, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You will see that this focus is primarily more of a nationalistic focus in the 1923 version of the pledge, really focusing the people of the United States into pledging their allegiance to the United States. And you might want to think about the time period 1923 and why it was important to maybe have a nationalistic focus for a pledge for the nation. Then the last version, which is the version that we say today, was written in 1954 under President Eisenhower, and it was in response to what was believed to be the communist threat of the time period. And Eisenhower's version of the pledge is, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You'll notice that Eisenhower specifically wrote in under God in this particular version of the pledge in 1954. One of the big things, too, is that it's interesting to note that Francis Bellamy's daughter did not agree with the 1954 version of the pledge. So maybe you want to think about why she may have had that disagreement or that idea based on the fact that when Bellamy first wrote the pledge, he didn't include anything about under God or specific to one nation. So finally, the question that I leave with you is, which version do you prefer of the pledge and why? And so what you're going to be doing now is you're going to be discussing these questions in your groups, and you're going to be talking about why you prefer what version you do, and maybe even if you move to another country, do you think you might try to bring the pledge with you? Do you think it would be important in other countries also to have a pledge? Do the other countries have a pledge? So be thinking about the importance of having a pledge or the importance of not having a pledge, depending on what your opinion is, as well as which of these 3 versions of the Pledge of Allegiance do you prefer and why. Thank you very much.